Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of Kenya Centers for Academicians, Diverse-Oriented Research, CADOR, and we are so happy to be here today. And once again, I've got our panelists, so I want to give them a chance to be able to say hi to all of us. From my far right hand corner, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Kian Wilfred, the Regional Consultant of Kenya Centers for Academicians and Diverse-Oriented Research. And I want to welcome all of you to this very interesting discussion, and you are going to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dear viewer, I'm sure that if you've been following us in the previous program, you've actually been able to learn so much from Dr. and it's always a pleasure to be able to have you in this program, Dr. Of course, we appreciate the feedback from the viewers, and in case you've got any questions, just feel free to be able to communicate with us, so that you can also be able to have time to be able to answer your questions. Next from Dr. is Madam. Please, you can be able to introduce yourself.
Thank you, viewers. My name is Maya Winnie, a senior moderator in CADOR. I'm happy to be here with you today to discuss these crucial issues that affect us in our lives today. Thank you. Welcome, viewers.
Thank you so much, Madam Winnie. It's always a pleasure to be able to have you in this program. So, dear viewers, today we bring on board a very interesting topic. Basically, it's the best way to be able to bring it is by giving you an example. We have got cases whereby we've got parents who have got two children. One child is in a good or in a well-performing school. The other child is in a school that does not perform so well. And sometimes we realize that this parent looks like, or it seems like they are supporting this child in a well-performing school more as compared to the child who is in that school which does not perform so well. So to be able to give a very good picture, I want to give a chance to Dr. Kien to be able to give us the problem of the statement, or basically how to give us a picture of how this problem actually exists.
Thank you so much, Elius. This is a very important topic, and I believe that parents are listening to us, and so to teachers and even principals from various schools are listening to us, because it's a very important topic. And I believe that when we solve this problem, we will really have helped our learners who are studying in top schools and even the low schools. Well, the question is the unfairness in our schools. That is the problem, the unfairness in our schools. Mm-hmm. That parents in top performing schools tend to support their learners or their children or the students 100%. While the same parents or even other parents who are in low performing schools do not do the same. They tend to support the school or the learners half-heartedly. And so you realize that in the top schools, the so-called big schools, that is what I mean. We have schools which we know that they are good, they are performing, and everyone wants that school. And when you look at those schools, parents are supportive. The culture of our parents is that they love the school. Yes, they pay almost 100% of whatever is required in the school. But look, the same parent who has children in a different school which is low performing, that is where the problem is. They do not support the school. They demand results where they are not giving what is required in the school. That is the problem. And so that is the question.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. And I think as a parent, as you're seated there, basically you'll be doing this unconsciously. You will not see it as a problem, but actually maybe for the first time you realize that, actually this is an issue. So I want to ask Madam Winnie, is it true that this problem actually exists?
Thank you, Simon. Viewers, I want to say the problem is actually real. It is there with us. Be it whether we do it consciously or subconsciously, it is something which is real. And I want to say it is a challenge because it actually shows some kind of segregation to our children in one or the other, because as much as you're doing unconsciously, you're affecting your children, and finally you realize even performance we may not pick up. And I want to say that our parents, let us know that we all have different abilities, but we need to nurture all these abilities equally so that we can actually harvest from both these particular children that we have. So the challenge is real, and I want to say it is now that we want to say, if this thing is there, should you really continue doing the same, or should we ensure that we follow the right path, that is, we support equally our children? And I want to say, when you are a farmer and you have 2 plots or 2 farms, normally in farming you always invest depending on the ability of the farm to produce. And you realize a farmer always will actually put more efforts or more fertilizer in that farm which has actually less productivity, so that the land can produce as expected. And the other one will actually ration its low. So I want to say, can we use the same method to ensure that we do the same to our children? I'm not saying they are not good. I say abilities are different, and we need to nurture these abilities equally. We have the slow learners, we have the fast learners, and I think that is where the challenge is coming in. The parents do not understand. And I want to say, let us always understand your child performs as per their ability and their nature. And nature is God-given. We cannot change the reality. So we need to always understand our children. And when you realize your child actually has some missing link in the performance, then you're supposed to invest more to ensure that this child is equally at par with the other one who is a fast learner in the different school. So we should not take our issues to the point where we actually desegregate the students and segregate the schools. These schools require support, the students require support, and that is why we want to say, let us scrutinize this issue and come up with a way forward on the same.
Thank you so much. I want us to break this down further, and let's get real, okay? Of course, if you mention a school, it's not decision just using for the sake of this program. So in case you mention your school, it's not decision. You want to promote it in school, neither are we against in school, okay? Now, so that's the disclaimer for all of us, for all of you as viewers. Now let's look at, for example, if you look at the fee structures for Daktari, look at the fee structures for our national schools, Moi Girls, and other schools that are at that level, or Kapsabet Boys, and look at the fee structure for a sub-county school. They are totally different. And what I'm trying to say is that you will find that a parent will prefer to pay over 100,000 to Moi Girls, for example, and they will pay almost the entire fee for Moi Girls. But for their own child who is in a sub-county school, maybe the fee is 11,000 per year. But they'll prefer to postpone the payment. You go to school, we'll come and talk about that issue later on with the principal. What's the cause of this? Because actually the fairness you're talking about. What is causing this problem?
Yeah, the cause and effects, because yes, everything has a cause.
Yeah.
And I would want to say, first of all, this is a problem that exists. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the solution to this problem is not what we are giving. Unfortunately, we are giving a solution, which, in real sense, actually we need to think further, mm-hmm, so that we are able to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. And I would say very, very clearly that the solution which we will be giving may need us as parents and even as leaders to be able to think even further. Mm-hmm. Because it's complicated. Actually, the problem is complicated. Mm-hmm. That for the parents will always want to pay fee or actually support the schools that are doing well. All of us, we tend to reward the person who is doing well. And so even the school that is doing well, naturally we tend to, there is a natural inclination to support somebody who is doing well. And so do the school is no different. The school that is doing well, we just feel like supporting. Just like we have 2 children or 4 learners in a class, and some perform very well, we will want to reward them. And so this comes as a reward. even from the parent and even from the entire group of parents, will always feel like supporting the school that is doing well. Unfortunately now, that when we do that and we forget or we ignore the learners in the poor performing schools or the low performing schools, we are doing it wrong. Because surely these learners have equal rights. They have equal rights to be supported. Remember that results is not everything. Remember that there are children even who have talents, and in future you will not ask somebody whether they were in Alliance High School or they were in Kumumu Secondary School, whether they were in Kapsabet Boys High School or they were in Ngalel High School. Whether it's a day school or it's a boarding school, it doesn't matter. But of course, we should support the schools equally. And as I said, unfortunately, there is the natural inclination to support those who are doing well. What happens is that the problem, as you are asking me, is that we will continue having the schools that we are not supporting failing or having low results because we are not giving them enough support. And we will continue having the top schools, which will be few, because the top schools are few. It's only 20% of the schools really perform.
Yes.
And 80% of the schools do not. We will tend to give all our efforts to the 20% of the schools who are performing, yet we ignore the 80% of the schools. And that is where the problem is. Now, the issue is, we parents, everyone, the society is expecting this low school to perform fast so that they can support. That is where the problem is.
Thank you so much, Dr. I think that's quite very interesting. And Dr. what you're saying is that, and maybe Madam can be able to substantiate this. What you're saying is that there's a direct relationship between support and performance. In that, if you're not, then the chances of them being able to improve are very low. Is that true?
Yes, I want to say it is very true, Simon. Dr. has put it very clearly.
Yes.
And as I said, at times we do it consciously or subconsciously. But the issue is, why are we doing this? It is because we always look at the end result, what you are supposed to get out of what you are paying for. And that is what is making the whole trouble coming. But the challenge also, fathers are substantiated like this, Dr. It is not about the performance. It is actually looking at the children at home. That this one is going to give me better returns unlike this other one. And that is why they are ready to spend on that, which is, I want to say, it is very wrong. And I want to say clearly here that we thank God we are doing away with the issue about examinations and rating, because that one is actually demeaning the children. When somebody does not perform in exams, it doesn't mean that this child is weak. It means that this child could be having something very important in her that we forget, and we are supposed to nurture it. So as much as the parents are paying the fees for the other one, I would want to say they're supposed to be motivating them, they're supposed to be actually mentoring them and giving them directions so that they can grow. And in the end result, they'll always even do better than the others if they can be assisted. And remember I said we have the fast learners and the low learners, and it is a nature. We cannot say it is because of somebody's fault. It is given. And being a slow learner does not mean that you are a poor performer. It means there is a way you are supposed to be given more time, more attention to perform. And that is what we are saying, even in these other schools that we are talking about. As much as we are saying they are low-performing school, they also require more time, more resources, more assistance so that they can pick up. And I think this is where we actually say the parents are the ones to champion this, that my child has gone to this school. The other one I know will actually do well in the other side. So can you invest on this other one in the low-performing school so that this low-performing school can actually have the resources and mentor these children so that they can perform as expected. And I think that is what we're supposed to do. Let us not demean the issue of performance vis-a-vis the end result of a child. Because it is like we are putting our yardstick in, I want my child to perform well, so I take to Kapsabet, to Alliance, to Maseno, and I forget about this other and I say, let her go to this other school, maybe Kapsoan, whichever school it is. And by the end of it all, you are actually taking the other one with a second mind that at a pita, lakini, I'm not very sure. So by the end of it, you are actually having a determined end of this child. You are not giving the direction to the child. And this is where we go wrong. And that is why you realize at times in these low-performing schools, the small schools that we talk about, the children there are demoralized at times, because at times the child will actually say about the way maybe the parent had said will come to school to discuss the fee, but he has not come to school, she has not come to school. While on the other side, this child knows that the fee of my other sibling in another school was paid in full. And they use the extent by saying, maybe this other means the school is far, you are near, which is not actually right. We are supposed to actually treat our children equally. A responsible parenthood is having an equal platform for all our children. As much as they cannot perform equally the same, can you provide for them the support they require equally? And I think it is very true. Let us try and balance this equation.
Okay. Now, madam, thank you so much for that. I want to pose a question to Dr. We say that success is earned. And we all know that we like supporting the team that is winning. Like, none of us like supporting failure. I must say that because a child or a student went to, actually most of us, let's be honest, okay? Many people didn't, maybe they did well, but they didn't get a chance to go to the schools they were called to, maybe a provincial school or a national school, because of maybe they didn't have the resources. But they still made it. But can we say that, that since we say that success is earned, that these schools deserve the support they are getting? Since when kids go out there, they perform. And these others don't deserve because they have a mean of 2.5.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very true, very true.
Yes.
I want to say that is not right, Doctor.
No. You wait for me to explain.
Yes.
That you said well. You said it very well.
Yes.
That success is earned.
Yes.
And we should equally. Actually, the Bible says. Let me quote the Bible so that I'm not going to make a mistake here.
Yes.
That those who have will be added.
Will be added.
And those who don't have,
the little they
even
have.
what they have will be taken away.
Yeah.
You are using it for the no.
So now, those who have will be added. And there is a question of the talents,
yes.
where somebody was given and there was given I don't know how many talents, and he used well and multiplied the talents,
yes.
and he was added. And the other person who did not use the talent but buried somewhere, just like the school that is not doing well,
Yes.
somewhere burying the talent somewhere, and then later on he brings and then says, this is what I have. It's like somebody who was having a mean of 3.0 all these years and expecting different results. Well, so anyway, God, or whoever, was it God or Jesus? The talent was taken away and given to the other one. In fact, it was taken away and given to the one for 4 talents who multiplied the talents. So in this scenario is real, and we cannot run away from it as a society, as leaders, as principals of schools, as parents, even as students. We need to look at this different. As I said earlier, we need to think beyond. Okay, we need really to see beyond our noses. Really, that we, as much as we want to encourage everyone to support the low-performing school, it is true. There is no question about that. We will always want to support them. We always want to encourage them. We will even want to ask leaders to even construct. To provide facilities, to build laboratories in these schools so that they can have equipment. But I want us to realize that again, there is a natural inclination that we always tend to support those people who are doing well. And as I used the example of the talents, I've also used that example in the Bible. Of course, we should ask the school to also be able to be more creative in finding or working more hard. They should really devise ways in which they can perform. Okay. That is my point. That just wait. That really they need to work hard. The schools that are low performing, I want to challenge everyone. I want to challenge the teachers in those schools. I want to challenge the parents in those schools. In those particular schools, not as a society. I'm not speaking as a society, I mean as in general, but I want to speak to specific groups. For example, parents in that particular school that is not performing, principals in those schools, I want to challenge them and say, you have no option. Actually, they have no option. You need to really work hard so that you can change results, because When you change results, you change entry behavior. When you change entry behavior, you command. Now, what happens is that you command. You tell the parents what is required and they will do it. That is the unfortunate part. I'm not saying I am supporting it, but that is the unfortunate reality. That surely we are supposed to even do our own part as a school. But again, as a society, I'm telling the parents, and I'm telling especially the parents in that particular school, if you have a child in Kapsabet Boys High School that is maybe having a mean of 9.5 or whatever, and you have another school, School Z, St. Mary somewhere, that is getting a mean of 3.0, I am asking you, dear parent, please support all the children. Support the children in Kapsabet High School, in Alliance High School, in Moi Girls High School, just like the way you support the child in those A, B, C schools that are not performing.
Let me ask you something, Dr. You're talking about talents. Let us look it back, because these children come from somewhere. They come from a certain family. I think the issue is to start actually from the family, because you cannot reward that best child at home all the time. First, you need to understand your children. I have said, and I'll say again, children are not the same. We are not created with the same abilities.
Sure.
So we need to understand them. We need to know how to nurture them. So if starting from nursery, the parents need to actually know the clear cut between their children. There are those who are very fast, and you always tend to like them. So instead of doing that, you need to balance the equation. This other, why is this one quiet? Why is this one not performing? Why is this one not communicating like the other one? You need to understand. Then when you understand, what can you do to help this child? And I think that is the starting point that we need to do, look at it. Let us not even look at the scores. Let us understand our children from home. Let us nurture them equally, motivate them. And this is the time now we talk about the mentorship. Can you give them people who can journey with them, so that they can actually learn to know themselves? It will take me to something which you were saying the other time about the self-drive. Self-drive also starts from that. When you feel demoralized, you're demotivated, because nobody is appreciating you, because you cannot be like the other person. So what happens is that the performance will not peak. So we are supposed to start by nurturing these children. Let us understand them. Let them give them that fair playground. And at the same time, let us look at this other who is actually lagging behind, so that we see how we can live to them. And when we do that, when they come to these schools, we'll be following them. And then now it comes to the school. Then we work with the school. You come to school, you say, teacher so-and-so, this child of mine is like this, and we thank God these are the results we got because of 1, 2, 3. I want us to continue this program. We want us to do 1, 2, 3, so that we support this child. At the same time, you're supporting the other one on the other side, but you are putting more concentration on this one who needs the support because of what you understood of the child. And I think that is where we need to actually rectify, so that we can have the playground. Let us not say we are supporting the performing school because they are giving us results. Even these other ones, they can perform. Let us give them the resources. Remember, results is actually social and environmental, and also personal. You cannot delink all those. It is where you are, the person you are, and the people around you that will make you perform.
All right. Thank you so much, but I want to come back to you as you're saying that. Well, let's talk about entry behavior in schools, because there is, according to my opinion, I think there's a direct relationship between entry behavior and the school culture and the school performance. How do you expect? Because just think as we're discussing this. Suppose you took all the resources, like we swapped the fee structures, got a mean of 3, became the school fees for Kapsabet Boys, for example. And the school fees for that school becomes, like, we just swap the school fees. Will the results change immediately?
I want to say no, it will not change immediately.
Yes.
Remember, I have said these are things which are linked. These are things which are linked to the personality, and you cannot change a personality type in rapidly or very fast. They must go through stages.
Yes.
So if you want performance to come in, you don't just switch. You need to understand what are the requirements. How are these learners here? What are we supposed to do? Then now you look at it and you rate on it. It is not about the fee. It is about what you do with the fee you have. Even the small fee that is paid, let us utilize that fee to ensure that we keep the necessary resources. Remember, why I'm saying no, we cannot switch the school fees. Remember, the other school has the highest number of learners because of the facilities. While in these other schools, maybe they have few facilities which are supposed to be there. So what we need to do is that let us utilize this to modernize or to change, to provide that particular environment that is good for learning. And then at the same time, I would want to say also the support system for education. They need to actually see to it that they can support these areas, these low performing schools, whereby they're supposed to give them some resources they require. Go to the ground, look at it, what are we requiring? Remember, in this course we have so many children, and I want to say this, what is making performance to be low is actually some of them are issues which are emanating from psychological aspects, that is social aspects. So we need to have guidance and counseling in place, a system which is in place. If it is a school sponsored by the church, let the church come in and give this guidance and counseling. Because some of these children, because of their nature, they've actually demeaned themselves. They are not willing to come out of their cocoons or their suffering or their challenges. Why? Is because they see as if they are the less unfortunate people.
So, Madam, I can interrupt just briefly. What you're saying is that it's not just the money. There's actually more to that. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to contribute and also just add to what Madam has said. It is true that you can't just change the fee of the school one day, or bring in a new structure, fee structure, like for example, Alliance High School structure to a small school structure. I mean, and then you expect results to change the next day. It is not the money. As much as money plays important role in changing schools' performance, and of course it will still do that, just like a business. When you bring in new stock and you improve certain things in your business, of course there is a possibility that you even have more profit.
Sure.
But this is a question of human beings. These are human beings. The students are human beings, and we are investing in their brains. So the question is, will that one change? It will not. Because surely we need to focus on the school culture, the success culture of the school. Actually, we need to. It is a process. Success is a process that you need to change the mindsets of everyone, the mindsets of the learners. You introduce study methods. You introduce questions of learning styles, reading study skills. We talk about the ability to master content, and many of them. So I would say you can never buy results. And that is why even sometimes when we want to give learners answers to cheat in exam, sometimes you can't even buy that, because when you even ask them to cheat, learners who are poorly performing, they cannot cheat well. they can't really cheat, because when they cheat, they will be caught because they don't know how to cheat. Yes. Now that is the problem, and so we have to follow the right way. We have to invest in certain important things, and that is why it is important to invest in programs. I would even encourage the low-performing schools to really invest in programs, in mentorship programs. Have long-term programs that are actually intended to change performance in your school. For example, those programs that help learners to master content and to become self-driven. So when we do that, then the school will change. The learners will change slowly, and the school will perform. We've seen schools that were doing very poorly, but over the years they have improved. Actually, we should be asking ourselves, what happened to these schools? Brian Tracy says, if you want to succeed, you just need to visit someone who is successful. Find out what they are doing and do the same things until you achieve the same results. Find out what successful people are doing and do the same things until you achieve the same results. Now, can we even visit the schools that were poorly performing and they are performing today? Because even the top schools that we are talking about, the Alliance High School, the Moy Girls, the St. Patrick's, or whatever, all those schools that are performing, the so-called big schools, there was one day that they were not performing. They came from somewhere. And there are things they did, and they performed, and they are now good schools. I'm challenging the so-called poor schools or low-performing schools or the small schools to do the same thing. Yes.
There's something I want to ask Daktari to clarify here, and I think that is where we miss the link.
Yes.
We always talk of mentorship and we talk of motivation. So I want us to come out very clearly which is which, because I think at times we go to the wrong direction. So can we kindly let me understand this issue, or let the viewers understand mentorship and motivation.
Sure.
Just
Which one to come?
yes, just before you answer, I want to ask you, viewer, if you love this discussion, you've got questions, feel free to be able to visit our social media channels. We've got YouTube, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram. Feel free to be able to visit there, give us feedback. If you've got any questions, feel free to be able to ask those questions. Then in our sessions, you can be able to answer some of those questions. If there's a topic you want us to be able to discuss, just feel free to be able to comment in our social media, and also be very happy to be able to answer those questions. So, Dr. please tell us the difference between mentorship and motivation.
Thank you so much for that very important question.
Yes.
And I'm happy that that question comes during this discussion.
Yes.
And mentors and motivational speakers,
Yes.
that is what we are talking about. Just like tools of work, that is the same. They serve the same purpose. When you are building a house, you have a hammer. You have what again? You have you have a nail.
Yeah, sure.
You have a saw.
Yes.
You have many things. So just the same way we talk about mentors and motivational speakers. A motivational speaker is one who comes to you to give you hope and to excite you and to make you believe in yourself. I mean, that is to make you believe in yourself. That's motivate, so that you can have reasons to believe in yourself. And that is a motivational speaker. Someone who comes once in a while to talk to you and makes you believe in yourself and believe in what you are doing and focus. So, but a mentor is someone who journeys with you. A mentor cannot come just once and speaks to you and leaves. A mentor should stay with you. A mentor is somebody who follows, who listens to you, who stays with you and journeys with you for a long time. Mentors can be with you for life.
Sure.
Mentors, when they begin a program in a school, just like the Kenya Centers of Academicians and Diverse Oriented Research, KEDOR is a mentor organization. We do not believe in one day a motivational talk and we believe we've changed everything. That is not how our minds, our brains operate and how we are as a human beings.
Sure.
We need time to grow. And so a mentor is someone who journeys with you, gives you, guides you, understands you, stays with you. And a mentor should, if someone is mentoring a school, they should be visiting the school like even more than like 3 times in a term to see how they are doing next year and like that, all the years. So para motivational speaker also as they have their role to play in schools. They come maybe just before an exam and they speak to learners, they believe in themselves and they know that they can now do it. It's okay. but I would really advise anyone to really value our mentors. Not just students, even business people, business mentors. We have academic mentors. We have spiritual mentors.
Yes.
You need really to have a mentor in your life. Because I don't believe that you can just make someone to believe themselves one day and things change.
Yes.
They can never change. You need to journey and you need to grow.
Sure. Thank you, Daktari. I think he's actually given me what I wanted to know. So, from my own understanding, and I bear to be corrected, viewers, I tend to think in that level that we are saying low performing, high performing, let us invest on mentors in these low performing schools or even our students who are not performing well. Let us get mentors to show them direction. Because what I know is the study skill. And the study skill you don't start today and finish.
Yes.
And then after that we can now invest on the motivation that they know where the way. And then they need now to have somebody to give them, push them the energy to push them follow that particular way as they're being mentored. I think that
you've said something very important, madam, that you can never motivate somebody to know how to study.
Yeah.
Can you really motivate somebody to master content? You come one day and speak language from heaven and you expect this learner to change the way they study. That one cannot happen. It is a skill. Studying is a skill. Success in mastering content is a skill that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be looked on. It's like a doctor. You can't expect a doctor to come and just check on you today. If you are having a major problem, for example, maybe do a major operation, and he leaves, and you are okay.
Yes.
That doctor must visit you and must guide you all the way. So thank you so much for that question.
Wow. And they say that it takes 21 days to be able to create a new habit. And what you're saying is that, even from our previous discussions, is that it's about the culture of a school that really creates that environment of success. So actually, we're going to be able to build a success culture in our schools. It takes time. And I like what Madam said at some point, before I move to the next question, that even the little resources we've got, we can be able to use that to be able to build a success culture in the schools. Okay? I want to talk about something that I hinted a little bit earlier about the entry behavior. How does this affect, Madam? Madam Winnie, how does this affect the end result of people, the entry behavior? For the viewers, maybe you could tell us what is entry behavior, then tell us how that affects.
Our viewers, when we talk of entry behavior, remember we are in a system where education is actually as per marks. So the entry behavior is actually the scores that a person scored at a particular level of a learning system, so that you graduate to the next level. Because at times the results that we get, maybe there are some underlying issues that came in and made the child to perform. Or at the same time also, this entry behavior could be as a result of the nature of this particular people, which we are saying now, the low performers, the slow learners, which actually will proceed to the higher level. So as much as it determines the end result of a person, I want to say in between there we need to know what exactly made this person to perform these marks.
Okay.
At every level, I want always the parents to know that when a child in a particular class, let us understand why is this child not getting these results. Let us not say this one actually is performing decimally, so hakuna hata future. No, it doesn't work like that. These children, there must be underlying issues that come in between that make them to perform the way they are. So let us not say entry behavior will determine the end result.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Dr. We talk about unfairness in schools. Unfairness in schools, right? What is entry behavior? Yes, you know.
What is fairness and entry behavior?
Exactly. Yeah.
We first of all, I would want to, as I answer your question. Well, as Madam is putting it so clearly, and goes by the policies.
Yes.
I also want to state a bit otherwise, that there is the reality of things. There is what the policy says. There is what there is the right thing, and there is the reality, which could be the right thing or not.
Yes.
And looking at that, you realize that even now, we just completed doing the national examinations, KCPE.
Yes.
And we are now almost ending the national examinations, KCSE. And realize that I'm very sure that the KCPE parents, the former KCPE parents, are really in communication with principals of schools.
Yes.
Actually, they are making some calls, telling them, you know, my child did this, and they were in school, they were doing KCP, and I want them to come to your school.
They have already identified the schools.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is what happens. You know, it's your child. Actually, it's not the child for the government. And although the government claims that all children are theirs,
yes,
it is true. They belong to them. But ultimately, the owner of the cow, as I'll speak about the cow relationship later, but the owner of the cow is the parent. And the owner of the cow will always want to graze the cow to take the cow to places where there is milk, where they can get more grass, good food, so that they can get good milk.
Yes.
That is what happens. The reality of things is that results, schools will always expect learners in Form 1 according to how they performed last year.
Sure.
That is the reality of things.
That's the reality.
Because a parent, immediately your parent does very well, and they are called to a school which you have never imagined, and your child has 350 marks, and they have been called to a school which is low performing, you won't accept.
Yeah.
And they will always go to a school that is doing well and place the child. They will always place the child accordingly.
Yes.
So when we talk about placement by the ministry, placement by the ministry, we sometimes we may ignore that. I mean, people ignore that.
Yes.
I'm not saying we should ignore, but the reality is these people may ignore that and go ask for schools according to their children's performance. So we should not. We should actually look at that in a more serious way, and maybe advise our parents and our schools to really focus on this and be able to assist the children to perform. And of course, as Madam has said, surely we should not just focus on the performance and the forgetting the talents. We understand that we have children who are skilled, who can be able to do very well in terms of talent.
Yes. And
this does not mean if they are not doing well in class, they are not successful.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. I see that you've got like 3 minutes to be able to finish. So I want us to give suggestions. You may be able to solve this problem. But I want us to give suggestions to parents and the students and the pupils and the society, madam, in 1 minute. What should we do to solve this problem?
Yeah, viewers, I want to say, one, let us understand and identify the abilities of our children. Then let us nurture, because at times some of these things we must learn. So we have to teach our pupils or our children to learn particular skills that will make them earn that success culture. Two, I want to say schools, let us learn to get this success culture by journeying with mentors, because we are not the know-it-all. As much as we are school or educationists, we need to people who understand how to mentor the success culture that we require in our schools. And finally, I want to say, parents, schools, let us believe in ourselves, our children, and let us always have equal share on equal opportunities for our children. As I said earlier on, thanks for the CPC, because CPC will actually give us a fair playground for all, because in our families, in our schools, we have different talents and we'll be able to nurture them as expected. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Winnie. Dr. Your parting shot.
Okay.
Yes.
My parting shot is that I will ask parents and the society at large,
yes,
even our leaders, everyone, that let us not use performance or results to measure the support we are giving to our schools. Let us not use results to determine how much support we give to our school or to give to our children. As we are saying that it's not, everything is not results, everything is not getting an A. We should also look at other things. And it's time to really focus on the child's ability and school's ability. I believe that as we go along and as we embrace the CBC, we will realize that a school can be good in a particular area. For example, a certain sport. For example, music. For example, anything, something like that. So what we should focus on is to assist the school, to support the school equally. I mean, all the schools in equal measure. And when we do that, the school will find out what is it that they are good at.
Sure.
And they focus on that. And when they focus on that, the children will be equally good. Because I believe the school is a place to mentor children. But more than everything, I would just want to ask everyone to value mentorship.
Sure.
That the schools should really value mentorship and have good mentors in the schools. I have seen this. For the last 10 years, we've had programs as the Kenya Centers of Academicians in many schools. I have seen schools change. I have seen learners believing in themselves. I have seen children who earlier did not believe that they can get A's, but they can. Sure. But they get A's because when they change their mindset, when they change the way they think, they change their beliefs. When they change their beliefs, they change their behavior. When they change their behavior, they change their performance. When they change their performance, they change their results. When they change the results, they succeed.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. And I want to thank you, viewer, for sticking with us in this session. I hope that you'll be able to learn so much and definitely be able to take up something. And even more important is that there's no single school, there's no single institution that is destined to failure. That it was said that this school is always going to be performing this way. There's no single student who will say that for you, you're going to be a C or a D student. The situation can be able to change. It's just a matter of looking for a mentor and changing the environment. So thank you so much for being part of this show, and we really appreciate you. Make sure that you follow us on our social media platforms, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you and welcome. My name is Guillaume Wilfred, the regional